Hello everyone. So today I've got another very interesting topic that I wanted to discuss with you. This is one where we get so many questions and a lot of consultations. They revolve around this topic, and you might have guessed it already. It's relationships. People wanted to know how their relationships in life will turn out to be, how their partnership's going to be turned to look like, what kind of a marriage can they expect, or what sort of a romantic life would look like. And surprisingly, astrology is a really powerful tool that can give us an insight into our partnership. The classic astrology text uh, put a lot of emphasis on relationship because they understood that as humans we experience life through our relationships. So if nothing is going your way in life, but you still have great friends, family around you, things are still okay, right? And the reverse is like if everything is going your way, but you have no one to share your success or your achievements with, it sucks, right? So that's why it's very important to understand how your partnership in life is going to look like. When we get this question, I look at a chart and I study that chart for in great detail. And the particular houses that I'm looking at is second house, fifth house, and eighth house. So most people will immediately jump to the conclusion that seventh house, that's my house of marriage, that's my house of partnership, and that's the one I want to study. But it's one of those important houses. But you also need to look at your second house because that's the house of your family, and your fifth house because that's the house of your um romantic relationships, right? Now, coming to the seventh house, yes, this is the most important house when it comes to relationship. So, when you look at a chart, you need to look at the strength of your seventh house. Particularly, are there any malefic planets in seventh house? Are there any malefic planet looking over to your seventh house? What's the position of the Lord of seventh house? Is not in 6, 8, or 12, so these sort of placements, they give you an overall indication of what your uh, partnership or marriage is gonna overall look like, right? And this is where things get interesting. Now, most good and experienced astrologer will go further, and they will actually look at your divisional chart. So, those who are not aware of divisional charts, this is a really powerful concept in astrology where every area of your chart has a subchart to confirm or to give you a much more clear picture. So think of it like a microscope, right? So for relationships, the house that we want to look at is D9 chart, right? So when you look at your birth chart and when you look at your D9 chart, they give you a really good indication of what your journey will look like in terms of your partnership, right? So say for example, you've got a great seventh house in birth chart, but in the D9 chart, the seventh house is afflicted, or the lord of seventh house is afflicted. Now, this in some case indicates that there is a probability that the relationship will have a great start, but it might come to some challenges later on in life, right? And the converse is also true. Sometimes we have an afflicted birth chart and the seventh house is very afflicted. But when you look at a divisional chart, it's fantastic, right? So in this case, what it's trying to say is that there might be some challenges to start with, right? So when you go into a relationship, you might initially experience a phase of challenge or some adjustments, some changes that you might have to do. But if you overcome that, then destiny is pointing out that, look, things will be okay in the end, right? So, as an astrologer, I discuss these things in great detail with my clients. The kind of planets that are involved gives us an indication of what kind of challenges we will face. So, for example, if you have Sun in your seventh house, then this might indicate a lot of ego issues, right? Um, it is possible that you might not agree with your partner's point of view, or if there is Mars, then it might indicate a conflict of view. So, if you know your pattern, right, that makes it easy for you to plan things. When we look at the chart for two people, for a partnership, then we look at their strengths and weakness. We can give you a good indication of, you know, which phase of the life you might actually uh, feel the most stress, right? And that can help you plan accordingly. Because also you have to remember, your chart is not fixed. You also go through these various transits and progression that gives you an indication of the phases or the years that might be difficult, and some years might be great, right? So most astrologer will give you a really good idea of what to expect, what, where you can prepare, what changes can you make, and it's really worth discussing this with your astrologer in great detail. um, yeah, so I hope I've given you some insight of what all goes through when we do these consultations, and I hope you find this information useful. Thank you very much.